Paul Triple H Levesque just dropped a new trailer for Raw on Netflix, but this time it includes the logo reveal, and holy shit, guys, it is so sick. Let's take a listen. Let's watch this. Let's dissect. We're going to talk about it. Should we be excited for Raw on Netflix? I'm going to tell you guys why we should. Man, we got to talk about this. Okay, Raw on Netflix, like, honestly, I don't know what WWE is doing or like how they got the impression to start going this more cinematic route, but everything they do, like video wise, honestly has been really impressive from a presentation standpoint to the production to hyping things up, like the trailers, the graphics, the designs, everything is like just absolutely beautiful. And really what I find more impressive now than ever is that Triple H and the WWE have really formatted like their content better than anybody else. With Raw moving to Netflix, I look at this as a great opportunity for WWE to kind of usher in or solidify this new era that we keep talking about. And I don't know what this Netflix era is. I don't know what this WWE era is. I've heard people calling it the record era. I've heard people calling it the new golden era. I genuinely don't know what to make of it. But what I do know is that WWE is doing something extremely cool right now, and it's working for them. And I feel like TKO has really just changed the game completely. I would have never expected this level of change in the WWE, but we have gotten to a point where just things are drastically so much better. Not only from a TV perspective, but just from a company perspective, and what they're doing outside of the wrestling ring is just really huge. And they found a way to just look cool. Like, honestly, like WWE is starting to look cool again. And I feel like it has a different audience now more than ever, but that's like a really good thing. And you might be wondering, why is it actually a good thing? Well, let me explain it to you guys. WWE has to grow, right? It's already hard to grow when you're already so big, but in order to grow, what you actually need to do is try to go after an audience that may not be watching your product, or maybe they are a lapsed fan where they used to watch your product back in the day, but now they no longer do that. So with WWE and TKO's approach, I mean, you could tell the way that they are producing their content, even if you just look at their commercials or simply the vignettes that you see on TV, it has more of this cinematic feel to it. And I know cinema has kind of been like this running gag on social media for years because of the Bloodline stuff, but even looking at the way they produce segments for Cody and Roman at Bad Blood, or what they did for WrestleMania 40, or what they just did recently for Saturday night's main event, or even looking at Roman Reigns challenging Solo Sikoa for Raw on Netflix, WWE just has a whole different presentation approach, which I think actually makes WWE look cool. Now, do I think that is enough to bring back wrestling fans that are no longer wrestling fans? No, but is it a possibility that WWE is going to venture out and try new things to appear a little bit different from how they have been? Yes, we're seeing slowly but surely that it is happening. Now, as far as the Raw on Netflix logo, I think this logo is sick. Honestly, I think the logo looks great. It feels like what we all know and love about Raw. I feel like it's, following kind of the same style a little bit as SmackDown in a sense. But WWE revisioning what the Raw logo looks like, I feel like it's been so important that they do it right, and I feel like they actually got this right. There's been so many rumors of what the Raw logo might look like, and there's been so many different graphics we have seen. The fact that this is the official one is actually a good thing, because honestly, I think it looks better than all the other ones that we have seen thus far. And for once, look, guys, I told you a long time ago, about a year or 2 years ago, WWE is doing new logos for all the shows, new presentation, new graphics. They're going to be making changes. We're starting to see those changes. WWE has done a good job with those changes. What we are living in is currently a perception war between WWE and AEW and all these other companies. WWE wants to be the biggest and baddest and the best, and they also want to be perceived as the biggest, baddest, and the best. But sometimes graphics matter, dude, and there's other wrestling companies that have great graphics, but maybe their shows aren't produced that well. WWE has got the production down, they got the creative down, but they needed to overhaul their graphics and their presentation, and that's exactly what they have done. So I feel like they've done a phenomenal job. And really, the last point that I want to make in this video, and this is probably the most important point of the video that I want to make, WWE is in a new era, right? And I talked a little bit about this. What is this era? The record era, the Netflix era, the streaming era, the new golden era. Like, what is this era for WWE? I think WWE shouldn't be, and this is maybe the biggest thing that I really want to talk about. I don't think WWE should be defined by any sort of era. I think WWE should be defined as a company that produces great content, and it doesn't matter the era that you're in, because if you have all these different eras being ranked, there's always going to be one that is ranked higher than lower. People are still living in the past. They still think about the Attitude Era, and that's great. But WWE throughout the years, even past the Attitude Era, they've produced some really, really good television, and they've also produced some really, really bad television. So what I would like to see with this new era of WWE, the TKO era, I don't want it to really be defined by a name or a nickname. What I really want to see is WWE being defined by their strengths and their weaknesses. And I think right now there is often more strengths than weaknesses. I think WWE is not perfect by any means, but I feel like this is the best version of WWE we have ever been given in my lifetime. That seems to be a very highly controversial take, but I don't think WWE has produced better start to end shows than they have in the past year and a half under Triple H and TKO. And I'm not saying this because Triple H is the savior, but I think Triple H understands that you have to create content and produce content for all kinds of fans. You have to give stuff that the indie wrestling fans love. You have to give stuff to your casual fans. You have to give stuff to the people that are not familiar with wrestling. WWE is very cookie cutter. WWE is very, very, very in the mix of producing content that I think, there's something called a WWE fan. There's something called a wrestling fan. And then there's something called just entertainment people, like people that are just fans of entertainment. And I see WWE crossing more into that entertainment circle where they are trying to capture the attention of fans or people who don't know what wrestling is, never seen it, never cared about it. And that's why WWE is the way WWE is. I feel like they have done a really good job leaning into that. Now, is it perfect? No. Are they going to be able to do it successfully? I don't know, but that is very clearly the direction that they have headed in. So I personally just want to see what they can do. I think they could do a good job of it, but this is a new era. This is one to get excited for, and hopefully WWE realizes you can have a great show on Raw and Netflix, and the first one could be really good, really, really great. It could be WrestleMania worthy, but you got to keep doing that every single week because consistency matters.